Your heart is racing, your palms are sweating. You just read a text message that said, "We need to talk." Nothing has happened yet, no danger exists in this room, but your body doesn't know that. It thinks you're being hunted. Here's the strange part. You're not overreacting. You're using a system that is millions of years old, running on hardware that was built for a world that no longer exists. And once you understand where that system came from, you'll never look at your own anxiety the same way again. Let's go back, not centuries, not even thousands of years. Go back roughly 200,000 years to the plains and forests where your ancestors lived. There were no locks on doors, no streetlights, no emergency rooms. There were predators, big cats, snakes, other humans sometimes who wanted what you had. In that world, a mistake could kill you. If you heard a rustle in the grass and assumed it was nothing, and it turned out to be a leopard, you didn't get a second chance to learn from that error. But if you heard a rustle and assumed it was a leopard, and it turned out to be wind, you lost nothing. You just felt silly for a second. So evolution made a choice, not a conscious choice, but a statistical one, carved out over countless generations. It decided that false alarms were cheap and missed threats were fatal. The humans who survived were the ones whose brains screamed danger first and asked questions later. That system sits inside you right now. It's called the amygdala, a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons buried deep in your brain. The neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping exactly how it works, and what he found reshaped how scientists understand fear. The amygdala doesn't wait for your rational brain to finish thinking. It has a shortcut. Sensory information arrives, and before your conscious mind even understands what it's looking at, the amygdala has already decided whether to sound the alarm. Think about that for a second. Your body can react to danger before you know what the danger is. Is that unsettling? It should be, because it means the system running your fear response was never built for accuracy. It was built for speed. Fast forward to your text message, to your inbox, to the notification that popped up during a meeting. None of these things can eat you. None of them are leopards in the grass. But your amygdala doesn't check a calendar before it fires. It just sees a pattern that resembles threat, and it pulls the same ancient lever. This is what researchers call a mismatch. Your environment changed far faster than your biology did. The savanna disappeared. The amygdala stayed exactly the same. Robert Sapolsky, a biologist who has spent his career studying stress in primates, put this mismatch in stark terms. Zebras, he observed, get stressed for about 30 seconds while running from a lion, and then their body returns to baseline. Humans, on the other hand, can activate that exact same stress response by simply imagining a conversation that hasn't happened yet. We can be hunted by things that don't exist. Let that sink in for a moment. A zebra's stress ends when the danger ends. Yours can start hours before anything happens at all and continue long after it's over. Why would evolution do that to us? Because the same brain that lets you imagine danger also lets you imagine solutions. It lets you plan. It lets you remember a bad outcome and avoid repeating it. The cost of that incredible gift is that your imagination can trigger the same alarm system as a real predator. You got a bigger, more powerful brain, and it came with a side effect. It worries. Here's where it gets even stranger. This ancient alarm system isn't just about physical threats anymore. It responds to social threats with the exact same intensity: being excluded, being judged, being embarrassed in front of others. That might sound like an exaggeration, but it isn't. For most of human history, being cast out of your group wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a death sentence. A lone human on the savannah, without the protection of the tribe, rarely survived long. So your brain learned to treat social rejection with the same urgency as a physical attack. This idea has a name in evolutionary psychiatry. Randolph Nessa, one of the founders of the field, has argued that many of the emotions we now consider disorders, like anxiety, are actually well-functioning defense systems that simply misfire in a modern context. Not broken, just outdated. Like a smoke detector that's a little too sensitive, going off every time you make toast. That reframes everything, doesn't it? Your anxiety isn't a personal failure. It's not weakness. It's a defense system doing exactly what it evolved to do in a world it was never designed for. So think again about that text message. We need to talk. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between a predator in the grass and the possibility of disappointing, so